opportunities, new partners, EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk taxes. We have a great show planned for you today, so get your dialing fingers in shape so you can call in and ask us your questions. We have a special guest today, Rob Eimer. We're really very excited about Rob because he also is an owner of one of our EG Tax franchises. So he is a college navigator. So for you, grandmas or grandpas, moms or dads, people getting ready to send kids off to college, you're going to want to make sure you pay very special attention to what Rob has to say. And, of course, I have in studio Tiffany Fabian. Hey, Tiff.
Hey there, Esther.
How you doing?
I'm doing really good on this
It really did cool off, didn't it?
Rainy Saturday. It really
did. It
did
cool off. My gosh.
I don't think I like it.
You start to think it's going to stay 90 forever, but it can't.
Right. The jig
and then
is up.
Christopher Fabian.
Hello, Esther.
Hello, Christopher. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, wait, how's that?
That's better.
Tyler had my mic off.
Closer to the mic. All right, before we get into what Rob has to say, and again, he's a college navigator, so he's going to help you to reduce his specialty, aside from taxes, is to help you reduce the cost of going to college. Would that be fair, Rob?
I think you've got it right, Esther.
All right. See? I'm smarter
You're one
than
for
the
one,
average bear.
and it's not even music time yet.
I'll tell you. So get your FAFSAs together and everything. But, Chris, we've had several things happen this week we thought was important to get off at the top of the hour.
We do. You know, the fraud calls are getting hot and heavy again. Unbelievable what they're doing with, and, people...
Well, tell what the fraud calls sound like.
You get a phone call, and it says, "This is Internal Revenue Service. Please give us a call. This is an immediate response. You are in jeopardy of being arrested if you do not return our call."
Oh, my God, I'd fall asleep.
But that's because it's
no,
a
but
computer.
when you hear Internal Revenue, Tiff, that kind of levels out the playing field.
And then
but of course they're fake. They're just fraud,
yep,
right?
When they call you back, when you call them back, and they'll say, "Oh, you made a mistake on your 2003 return, and you didn't claim all your income. You owe us $3,500, and if you don't pay us within 24 hours, the police will be at your door to arrest you." Right. And we all know
that does not happen, and it is absolutely fraud.
Correct. First of all, IRS doesn't do phone calls.
Nope, not unless you are you are assigned to a person who's your
revenue agent, which you've been talking to.
This would be after you get letters. You get letters first with statutory limitations, 90, 60, 30 days. Then a person that you've been corresponding with might call you, but they do not call you and threaten to take your husband away. However, there are people that wouldn't mind if their husband gets taken away. So don't worry. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. Chris, there was something else that happened this week.
Letters. People are getting letters, and I've seen so many letters this week. New York State's mailing them for the 414H, which is one of the most common mistakes. But they are also workman's comp. If you received a corrected W-2 from the state of New York for workman's comp offset, so they're reducing your wages, and you went back and amended your return, New York State is now rejecting the amended return and saying...
Not New York State, the federal government.
No, it's New York State. Oh, no, it's the federal government.
No,
it's the federal government. I'm sorry, the federal government. All right, so let me just put it to you simply. Let's say that, and it happens mostly with people that work in the prison system. I have a lot of
That's
them,
one of my
COs,
clients,
who might have been out on a workman's comp case, and they got a full W-2, let's say for 2011 for $60,000, but 40,000 of it was workers' comp that shouldn't have been on there. But the state of New York issued a W-2 for 60,000. We did his tax return per normal. Then last year they got a corrected W-2 form which says that it really wasn't 60,000. It was really 20,000. And so you amend the return and you want to get them their $12,000 back, right? That's what the federal government's rejecting.
Correct. Yep. They're saying they don't have the corrected W-2 yet from New York State itself, so they're rejecting it. But you can appeal their decision. So,
right, and that's the really good news. The good news is don't lay down and play dead and say, oh, I guess I'm not going to get it, because you are. You have to be dogged about this, and you want to make sure that you pursue this. So make sure if you have any problems, you just can call EG Tax.
Yeah,
and we'll be very happy
and you
to
know,
help you.
I had a client that I just amended a return for, and the sad thing is it took New York State like 2 years to notify him of this, and so, you know, there's the statute of limitations, and so you want to make sure you hop on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about college? Again, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on the cell phone. Grandmas, grandpas, moms, dads, if you're getting ready to send your kid to college in the next 5 years, this is a really important segment for you. Rob Eimer, we know Rob so good. We're so thankful that he came in on a Saturday. So, all right, what are some of the biggest things that parents need to look out for? Because they're all filling out the FAFSA forms. And what are some of the biggest mistakes you see on the financial aid form, Rob?
Yeah, that's a good question, Esther. It all starts with the FAFSA. That stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And every high school student that's going to be attending college needs to fill one of those out, the parents as well. So what happens is when the FAFSA is filled out properly, most of it mirrors your tax return. So most of the information flows over, but there are a bunch of questions on the FAFSA that are kind of a gray area. A lot of those are asset questions, retirement funds, and things of that nature. So if you're not really up to speed on how to answer all those questions, it can end up costing you a lot of money.
In other words, they won't give you financial aid if you don't answer it properly.
That's
well,
right.
What might be an example of somebody making a wrong choice on their FAFSA form?
Probably the biggest one we see, Esther, is when people include on their FAFSA as part of their asset section their retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. Some people have a considerable amount in their retirement accounts, and if that's on your FAFSA as an asset, then it's going to wipe you out for any aid that you might get. So if it is a retirement account, a 401, an IRA, things of that nature, it does not get reported on your FAFSA as part of your asset. So that's probably the biggest thing that happens.
Okay. So now tell me this. What if somebody's set up the 529 plan on the state of New York? Does that help or hurt the child?
Well, it helps the kids because you've put money away for them, obviously, but
Right.
It does affect your aid eligibility. So there's some things you can do with a 529 that you can offset the problems with that a little bit, but it is set up, obviously, as you know, Esther, to help your kids, and it's a tax deferral for the moms and dads that set those up. But it will affect your EFC. That's your aid eligibility number that comes off your FAFSA.
So what happens is, are they going to use the 529 first in determining whether you get any financial aid?
That's correct. That's going to be applied first towards your total cost of college. That's correct.
Okay, so if mom and dad put money in their pension plan at work and didn't put money in the 529, is that a better strategy?
It could be, and as you know, Esther, being involved in taxes for so long, some of those questions are best answered directly through a tax person, but basically if your money is in a pension, a retirement plan, it is not going to affect your FAFSA in a negative way.
Okay, so when we talked the other day, you were telling me that parents just kind of lay down when the college says, oh, it's going to cost $30,000 to send your kid to college. Parents just go, okay, and they just pay it, right?
That's the truth. Most of the families that I work with, they get their award letters from, maybe the 3 or 4 schools that the children apply to, and they look at them and they go, well, this school's going to offer us maybe $10,000 in aid. The school's going to offer $8,000, but whatever the case may be, they just go to the bottom line and it says, this is how much it's going to cost me. And they said, well, I guess that's what it costs me, and they sign off on it. But we say that it's more like buying a car. They're negotiable. So when you go into a showroom to buy a car, you don't necessarily buy the first car you see. You probably go to a couple dealerships and shop it around. Believe it or not, you can do that with your college as well.
Wow. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax. We have special guests this half of the hour, Rob Eimer. He's a college navigator. He will help you to save money in college, and we all need that kind of help. We're going to take a short break. We're going to see you on the other side. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Give Rob a call if you have any questions about how to save money in college tuition. Those phones should be lit up like crazy. See you on the other side. Always having mercy on me, aren't you? Because you know I'm so old, I don't know any of these new bands. That's
No.
the Beatles, right?
Yes, I've screwed up the last few weeks with you, so I wanted to make it up to you, make it nice and easy.
Now, but I don't know the song. What's the name of the song?
Andrew Bird Can Sing. It's off Revolver.
Wow.
Okay.
See, you always get me. I mean, it's unbelievable. I might know the name of the band, but I don't know the song, or I know the song, and I don't know the name of the band. Anyway, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax. We have special guest in studio, Rob Eimer. He's a college navigator, and I want to tell you something. If you want to save money on your tuition, this is, and who doesn't want to? I know Tiffany and Chris have a daughter in college and another one coming up. I presume you guys are listening.
Most stuff.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I had no idea you could, this is the bill. And I thought, well, that's it. We just get loans and you pay it. But
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Rob, where do we get a hold of you from?
The
I
best
know
way-
where I get a hold of you, but I mean, where does everybody else, relative to this aspect of your expertise?
Sure. My office number is 810-3485.
Okay, and anybody can call you.
Yep,
810-3485,
Yep,
right?
and I'll get back-
810-3485. Rob Eimer, and he is somebody that will help you to pay less in tuition. Many times, I know as we get closer to the end of the year, everybody's trying to get their FAFSAs together. They would want to talk to you, right, to make sure that they're doing their financial aid forms correctly.
Correct. That's the first step, is making sure that the FAFSA is done correctly. Because I'll give you a real quick personal story. When my eldest daughter was going to college a few years ago, as you know, Esther, I'd been involved in doing taxes for a number of years at this point. So I thought, well, I can do the FAFSA on my own, not a big deal. Well, I didn't do it right, and it ended up costing her about $2,000 in free money. So she reminds me about that every month when she pays her student loans.
But obviously, something happened between the time she was in college and today, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
you must have got hooked up with these experts who taught you the ins and outs.
Correct. And the FAFSA is done every year because life changes every year. Income changes, children, a lot of things change. So the FAFSA has to be looked at every year in order to get the maximum benefit out of it.
Okay, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, in studio with Tiffany Fabian, Christopher Fabian, our special guest, Rob Eimer, a college navigator, and we have people that are trying to look for some ways to save money from college tuition. So we have Dave on line 2. Hey, Dave, how can we help you?
Hi. One first question. Why is it a law that you have to fill out a FAFSA form if you knowing well that you're not going to get any money? I feel that this is a way for the government to actually just reroute the way of looking into your financial records.
I've always wondered why you have to do it if you're not going to qualify.
That is a good question. And you don't have to do it. The reason the colleges require that is because obviously if you've got some assets and you're a high earner, they're not going to offer you any benefits at all as far as aid. So you can apply to a college and just say, I'm going in on merit-based only, need, blind, merit-based. And then you won't get any aid unless your son or daughter has,
Oh,
exceptional grades. So you don't have to do the FAFSA.
Isn't
Okay,
it?
so it's not. It's really not a law.
You have to.
Well,
You
if you
just
want
said
to
you have to.
apply, if you want to apply for government loans, you do have to. That is correct. Even though you're not going to get any free aid, probably, if you're going to apply for the subsidized government loans, then you do have to do the FAFSA.
Okay, my second question is, my wife and I are guardians of my niece. I have no clue of what their parents' income is. I only know where one of them lives, and we have no idea of anything that
Pertains.
it has to do with their natural-born parents. What would it sit in a situation like that? What is my recourse? I don't even know where I would be starting. And this is coming up in about 2 years.
Right. I guess my question would be, do you claim the children on your tax return as your dependents?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Then that would probably answer your question right there. They would be included under your income because you're claiming them as dependents. So
Rob,
According
what
to
happens
the
is
FAFSA form, the FAFSA form does not want to know anything about a guardian. It only wants to know if you were adopted or stuff like that. A guardian, and on that form, a guardian is not, how do I want to say this? They don't want to know nothing about guardianship. They want to know about your parents and if you're adopted and all that other stuff.
Well, I could research it a little bit for you, Dave. If you'd like, you can get a hold of me offline, 810-3485.
Okay.
that would be good. But I got to believe that in that situation, he is acting in the role of parent.
That's what I would think.
And if the parents are nowhere to be found, you know, I have to believe that that would be an exception. But again, get a hold of Rob, 810-3485, 810-3485, and he will help you with navigating FAFSA. And I will tell you, part of what we do at EG Tax is we will help you fill out your FAFSA form, you know, because we have all the information. So especially if you were our client. Now, the other thing is something about the true cost of college. Is that something that people are confused about, Rob?
Yeah, what happens, Esther, is when you go to the school's website, they'll give you the estimated cost of schooling, and they'll throw in some books and some other things. But our software will actually show you a lot of things that the schools will not show you. Probably the biggest thing is the aid eligibility. Again, that goes back to your FAFSA and the estimated family contribution, the EFC. I did a report, just real quick, I'll share this with you. I compared Princeton, which obviously is a very high-end school, with Canisius College with UB. And most people are going to say, well, Princeton obviously is going to be the most expensive school to go to. Running just some typical family numbers with four people in the family, wage earner making about $85,000, it would actually be less expensive to go to Princeton than it would be to go to UB.
Wow. What?
The reason being is that Princeton offers 100% in aid.
Wow.
And out of that 100%, 88% of it is what we call free money.
You mean like if you can get accepted?
That's right. It's probably the hardest school,
right?
probably the hardest school to get
endowment.
accepted too, right? But other schools like Canisius, for instance, they're going to offer about 79 to 80% of the need, but only about 70% of that's going to be in the free grant money. So you got to make up the difference.
There's going to be like 20,000 applications tomorrow to Princeton, right? Okay, and then the other thing is the length of time that you're in college until graduation.
Great question. Again, the schools that you hear of most of the time around here, Canisius, Bonaventure, schools like that, they typically have a pretty good record of getting kids in and out in 4 years. The state schools right now, for a lot of reasons that I won't get into right now, they're telling the incoming class that it's probably going to be 5.5 to 6 years to graduate.
Wow.
So when you look at adding another year or two of tuition cost and then the opportunity cost of the kids not being able to work for 2 years, they're losing another $30,000 or $40,000 a year because they're not working. You got to add that into what your true cost of college is going to be as well.
Now, why would they be holding up graduating?
Most of it is class size.
What do you mean?
Getting into the program.
That's right.
Yeah.
What
Okay,
happens
so
is
what
that
they do is they say you have to take this class,
That's
but
right.
you really can't get the class.
That's right. There's core courses that every curriculum needs, every student needs. And the upperclassmen typically get first shot at the core courses when the classes are open up for the computers. So they register for these courses, and then the freshmen coming in cannot take them till they're maybe juniors or seniors. So it pushes everything back a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Would that be contrived?
I don't think so, Esther. It's, state isn't funding the schools like they used to, so just the class sizes are a little bit smaller. A couple of different factors play into it, but basically the SUNY schools right now are telling their incoming kids count on 5.5 to 6 years.
Now, Chris and Tiff, your daughter is in college. Isn't she graduating after 4 years?
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware of,
Yeah.
that's what she says.
And she's at a state college, and so I don't know if
she's going to UB.
But she got
isn't she graduating
into
in 4 years?
she got into the classes that she needed to get her grades to where they had to be in certain classes. But I know also some colleges, so depending on the programs, they only offer the class you have to take once a year.
Yeah.
So you may think, oh, I can get it in the spring semester, which is January through May, but they don't offer it to the fall. So if you're waiting to take it, that's another 6 months of school you have to go to.
And another thing Becca's done is for a few summers she's taken summer classes, and so that's got to help too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We have a college navigator that can help you to save money on your education for yourself, your children, your grandchildren. If you have any questions, give us a call, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on the cell phone. And I know Rob says he can only stay for half of the program, so we're very sad about that. But I will tell you, in the meantime, jot this number down, 810-3485, 810-3485, and you can get a hold of Rob Eimer. Is there any last-minute information, Rob, you want to give us before we get to the news?
Sure. The first thing I tell parents when I first meet with them when their kids are in high school, I tell them there's 3 very important things to get across to their kids. Grades, grades, grades. It's all about good grades.
Not sports.
Not location.
But why grades? I mean, hello, grades. I mean, seriously, why the grades? Because the more scholastically unchallenged they are, the better they are with getting grants and things?
Yep, that's a big part of it, especially in the state schools. The state schools are kind of limited in their funding just because of the charter they're under. So for the state schools, it really is all about grades as to how much aid you're going to get.
Okay, and then that's even, are you saying grades before you go or grades while you're in college?
Both, because let's just say you're getting $5,000 a year from XYZ college as free money for your merit award. That's only good for 4 years, and you have to keep your grades up in order to maintain that award. So if your grades go down, you might lose your award.
Okay. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. We were really fortunate to have Rob Eimer with us, a college navigator. If your kids are getting ready to go to college, grandkids ready to go to college, and you're saying, oh my gosh, we're going to have like $150,000 in student debt, use Rob as a resource because he can help you with your FAFSA to make sure that you get the maximum bang for your buck that you possibly can. He'll help you negotiate the actual cost of college. And again, his phone number is 810-3485, 810-3485. And Rob, we just want to thank you for coming and joining us at Ask the Tax Lady, and we'll see you shortly, I presume.
Yeah, my pleasure, Esther.
All right, thanks, Rob. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone. And we're going to take a short break for the news. We'll be back in a minute. I like it. Tyler, who is that?
That's the Fratellis.
I see, now you got me. I don't know who the Fratellis
Are they
It sounds
related
like
to the
something-
Shintas?
It sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Oh, it does. I'm hungry.
Me too. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. We really thank Rob Eimer for joining us.
You know, one thing I want to say, with the college
sir.
things, talking to Rob, doing a little bit of research on this, people, they'll go into a grocery store, they'll go into a department store, and they'll go up to any coupons I can use, anything I can do to bring down the cost. But when they go to the college, they don't ask. If you don't
it just
ask,
seems so. Well, academia and academiettes, they seem so academia-ish. That you don't think you can say, okay, this is like buying a car. But until I talked to Rob, I had no idea.
Yeah, but think about it. He's right. You do it on a car. You can do it on a house. You can do it on a boat. Why not? Try it. It can't hurt. All they can say is no, right?
That's right. Okay, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 cell phone. We're switching gears. We're doing taxes. We want to talk about fall tune-ups, and we've had Gary, who's been waiting for a long time. Mr. Gary, how can we help you?
Hey, is Rob gone?
He is gone.
He had a
Okay, I was just going to say, he said if you have a retirement 401k, that's not held against you as far as the FAFSA.
Right.
How about if you're already collecting social and a retirement? That'll probably be your income then?
No, there's income and then there's assets. What he was saying was many people put down the income that's in the asset of their pension, and you don't have to put it down.
Right,
but again, if any of you are listening, call Rob, 810-3485. He's a really sweet guy, 810-3485. And it's wonderful to use him as a resource.
Right. But Gary, sorry, you have children and they're going to college and you're collecting Social Security. Is that correct?
And a pension also.
Right.
Yeah.
That would go as income right now.
Okay. I
but not the net value of the retirement plan.
I see. Okay. I have another question. I have an income property also, and it needs a tear off a roof. It's going to cost me about $10,000. So after all my deductions for all the benefits for being a property owner, what would $10,000 roof actually cost me in my dollars?
All right, Chris, give him the bad news.
Well, the bad news is I'm doing it right now.
The truth is, so he has a rental property. Is that what he said? Right. And so he's got to amortize the roof.
It's going to be about $396 that he's going to be able to write off, right?
That's your write-off a year.
So if you're in the 10% bracket, it'll save you $39.
So what's the savings on a $10,000 roof?
You have to anything that's a capital asset, and that new roof is a capital asset. You have to depreciate over 27 and a half years, and that's like 3.9696. So it's about
$363.64 a year.
And then that's multiplied by your tax bracket, so it's about a $36 tax savings if you're in the 10% tax bracket.
For 27 and a half years.
Right.
Okay, the 27, does that start when you start owning the property or from the roof job?
It's from the roof job, actually divided by the number, how late in the year you do the roof job. So if you're doing it in October, that's even worse. Yeah. So it'll save you like $10.
Right. Well, I had the property already for 15 years.
No. It's from the time the roof job is done.
I'll be dead after 27 years, so...
No, but this year you're not going to save much money is the bottom line.
Right.
But what it does, too, is the depreciation you haven't taken so far adds to the value of your house. So then if you were to sell it in 5 years from now, you may have only taken $1,200 worth of depreciation. So then you added $8,800 to the basis. So then you're not going to pay that much in tax if you were to sell it.
Right. So that minute amount that you mentioned, that's what I'm going to get this year or next year. The savings.
You'll probably save like $10 this year and $36 next year.
And you'll save a little tiny bit on the state too.
Right.
Right. I'm just saying, at the end of the 27 years, what's it going to amount to? I mean, the $10,000.
Well, you think about it. Well, every deduction you take is multiplied by your tax bracket. It sounds like you'd be in the 10% tax bracket.
Right.
So 10,000 times 10% is $1,000. You're going to get, like state and federal, $50 a year for 27 years. That comes to $1,000.
Okay. So
Not
instead
much.
of 10,
Better than I
$9.
get for my roof.
Pardon me?
It'll cost me $9 instead of 10 after it's all said and done.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, that's not bad.
Good.
Okay,
Thanks,
great.
Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Appreciate the call. I'm Esther Gullius from EG Tax, 8030930. 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we got...
Esther, don't forget Gary, he said he's going to claim kids for college, and so I just wanted to make sure that he's claiming the college credit too. And
yeah,
so,
well, the American Opportunity Tax Credit is going to get him at least $1,000 refundable.
Yep, so don't forget that, Gary.
And then $400 on the state, too.
Yep. Correct.
Okay, we got Paul from Gowanda. Hi, Paul. How can we help you?
Well, hi. How are you?
Good.
Well, I have a very unique situation, actually. It's kind of funny. You know my mother. I won't get into names, but I ended up having six-pack operations, and I'm 47 years old, and I ended up getting put on Social Security disability.
Right.
Kind of took me by complete shock. Wasn't ready for it. Didn't prepare for it. But what I did do was take the bulk money, after you fight for a year and a half, 2 years, to get, approved. I took that money and I bought 2 properties at a tax auction. They were livable, if you didn't mind the 80s thing going, or the late 70s. And I paid off the mortgage in the house I was living in. Probably a dumb thing to do, but I because of what I ended up getting per month, it really kind of hurt. So what I did was I turned over my company to my 19-year-old son. I put my son's name on the properties with me instead of, like, the house we live in, for example, is not me and my wife's name. New York state law dictates that she gets half of it anyway. But I put my son and my name on it, just in case something happens, that it doesn't go to probate court or, something along them lines. I know I have to set a will up that, allows my oldest son to, divide the proceeds, etc. But the question I guess I'm stuck with is, for the longest time, I had a tax issue. We sold a company back in 2001. 2001. And in 2003, I got a lovely IRS letter leaning me for $203,000 for unpaid 949 taxes.
What kind of taxes?
949, he said?
941s?
You mean You mean payroll taxes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I listened to my accountant and I listened to my, lawyer, because I had 5 children at the time and not a lot of income because of all my surgeries. It wasn't that I ever owed, so they said, calculate your taxes. If you don't owe, don't do them. Don't file them. Because what happens is, if you file them, they keep your return. It's considered a forced payment, and they end up extending that 10-year from whatever date they keep getting paid. Well, it finally fell off. I did my taxes last year, and they still kept it, but it's no longer on my credit. It's
So it's been wiped off by the IRS because
of
the 10-year period. Okay.
And I met with one agent. He said it was uncollectible, and this was many years ago. I really kind of laid into it because the one day myself and my wife weren't home, and this agent took it upon himself to question my, at the time, 15-year-old son, who owns the house, who owns the boat that was in the front yard. Oh, I went off.
Okay, so, but Paul, do you have a question?
Well, I'm not. They're now taking Medicare. I have no idea about Medicare. I'm trying to figure out the best strategy as to, am I doing the right thing by putting my son's name on things?
Okay, so you know what? You can't. Your situation is very complex, all right? And what I'd suggest you do is call the office on Monday, 632-7886, and so we can talk. You can't talk on a radio about all your personal stuff, right? And it's really too complicated to give you a simple answer because there's not going to be a simple answer, okay?
Oh, and just for the record, so it doesn't look like I'm a bad man. There was a hold harmless. This was a publicly traded company.
Okay.
And it were 47 shareholders.
I don't think you're a bad man. The thing is, I want to give you a right answer. So why don't you give us a call on Monday We'll be there 9 to 5 on Monday, and this way we can ask everything specifically. But it sounds like you have very little assets, and it sounds like you're doing things correctly, but we want to make sure that it is. So 632-7886, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
Hold on 1 second. 632.
7886, and don't smash up the car.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Yeah, because it sounds like
I'm
he's got
the
houses.
tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. We're going to take a short break. We'll see you on the other side. I'm better with the Beatles than I am with this. Like, what is this? Smashing Hammers or something?
No, it's Franz Ferdinand.
Oh, it was Franz Ferdinand. Did you guys know that?
You know it.
Yeah, I bet you. All right, I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930. Harking back to Paul from Gowanda. Many people don't know this, but if you are uncollectible for 10 years, what happens?
Your debt is forgiven at the IRS.
That's right. The IRS just wipes off the debt.
Yep.
Right?
But
So that's really what he was saying, is that he waited out the 10 years and he was uncollectible, so the debt went away.
Yeah, but it almost sounds like, since he said they took some of his refund or his Medicaid, some Social Security, sounds like he still has another debt. He may want to that's
why I wanted to talk to you.
We may want to just do an offer to see.
All right. So anyway, we got Janet, who's been waiting a long time. Janet, how can we help you?
Oh, hi, Esther.
How are you?
My granddaughter stopped going to college. I mean, she went for 2 years and she just didn't want to go back. So that means she has no health insurance because she was getting it from her mom where she works.
Well, how old is she?
20.
Well, but you see, under the mandate, you can get it until the child is how old, you guys?
26.
Right.
Oh, even if she's not in school?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yay, good news.
So Mommy should just keep her daughter on.
Okay, I'm going to tell her that because we were getting kind of anxious because on your commercial you say, do you have health insurance? And there's a penalty when you do your taxes.
But not for children. But not for children, whether they're your dependents or not, under age 27. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good news.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Janet, waiting for.
The penalty this year, if you do not have health insurance, it could be up to 2% of your adjusted gross income.
Right.
So that was worth waiting for, right?
Yes, it was.
Good. Will you tell your granddaughter to get back on Mom's insurance?
I certainly will.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax. I will tell you, Tiffany, on your commercial, you're saying that our school starts in October, and it does, and it's a great school. You can take it in school with other adults on computer. We teach you the computer. You don't have to know that. We actually prefer you to kind of come with a blank slate, and we'll help you to navigate the computer system. Or you can take it at home.
That's right. Yep, which is a great option. What were you going to say?
We do it at a nice, even pace, so you get the time to have it sink in your head and understand what's going on. It's not.
Well, you can as much as you can sink in your head.
Yeah.
That's the trouble. You know, I mean, it is taxes, and you when you come to tax school, you say, "Oh my God, I had no idea that all these things are in there," and it really is like ragu. It's in there, you know. So let's go back to the phones, and we have Dan from Buffalo. Hey, Dan, how can we help you?
Hello, Esther. I'm currently 59 years old. I retired 7 years ago. I currently get a pension of $63,000. When I turn 62, am I eligible for Social Security?
Of course.
Well, where did you work?
UPS.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to make sure if it wasn't the post office or the railroad. You know,
right.
because
I mean, if you had a Social Security plan at work, yeah, you're going to be. But at 62, you can collect Social Security. Correct. So now the only negative part is that 85% of it's going to be taxable. But I mean,
That's
there's
what
no way around it, because the truth is, if you let the Social Security get bigger, so that you take advantage of the stepped up amount of
You
Social
wait till you're
Security you get at
65.
normal retirement age, you're usually giving up like $100 and some $1,000, and it takes like 13 years to get back to even. So you won't get back to even until you're like 75. So that's what you need to do. You need to take a pencil and a paper and see what you're giving up and divide that by your increase and see how many years it takes. It's about 13 years, right, guys?
That's
Usually?
right. Yeah. Because Dan, what Esther's saying is, you could take it when you're 62, or you could wait till you're 65 and get it at an increased amount every month. I'm sure you're aware, right?
So
Yeah.
you're at 79. You have a party. Now the question is, do you know you'll make it to 79? That's because once you pass, if you let them keep the $100,000, they don't give it to your heirs. It just is gone. So something really to think about. Ponder seriously.
Do you work
And
a part-time job, Dan?
Yes.
You do. So don't forget that until you reach full.
Okay, that you didn't mention that. How much do you make in your part-time job?
Minimal, $10,000 a year.
Okay, you're still good. You're still good.
But he could put money into
an
an
In an
IRA.
IRA, right?
Yeah,
you can
you
put money into an IRA for you and your spouse if you're married, and pretty much shelter most of your wages, and then you'd probably get the pension. No, I won't get the pension savers credit because he makes too much money.
Too much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and until he reaches full retirement,
But
he
if
can't
you
make
need
more
any
than.
help, Dan, you can call us at 632-7886, and we'll help you to do all the math. So when you see it in black and white, you'll understand it better.
Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much.
Thank you, sir. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930. We want to talk about fall tune-ups. And we're not talking about your car. We're talking about your finances. And one of the things that I think is important is for people to convert to a Roth or take money out of their IRAs or pensions if they don't have to file a tax return. If you, for instance, if your income is all from Social Security and maybe a small pension, and you're over the age of 65, you really don't have to file a tax return. But you have all this money that's just sitting there that would be sheltered because of a standard deduction and personal exemption. And so you can actually take, in this situation, if you had $22,000 in Social Security, $8,000 in a pension, you actually could take out $12,000 out of your traditional IRA and roll it over into a Roth, or just take it out and pay zero taxes. So systematically, you can take money out of that pension plan and utilize that standard deduction as and personal exemption as kind of a strategy to get your money out and not pay any taxes. Right, guys?
Right. I mean, that's a great plan. That's what we reckon. People go, really? I can do that? I thought I had to wait.
And I will tell you, here we got September, October, November, December. So you got 4 months to utilize this strategy, and it'll save you some money. And
that's called tax planning. Yeah.
That's right. And that's a great tax plan.
Yeah.
Right? The other thing is planning a debt forgiveness. There are people that are carrying around all kinds of debt that they can't pay. And if you are effectively insolvent, and that means you have more liabilities than you have assets. So all you have is a car, and maybe that's all you have as an asset. When you look at your liabilities, you have $25,000 or $40,000 in credit cards. You have a car loan, so you have more liabilities than you have assets. You can actually plan a debt forgiveness where you would say to the credit card company, "I'm not paying you," and they would then give you what's called a debt forgiveness form that should be taxable. But in this situation, we could take advantage of a form and make it not taxable. Correct?
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So sometimes it's just coming to the place where you say, you know what, I need to get rid of this because it's like a dead body. I'm just
dragging
around this debt, and it's never going to get paid for.
Yep. I mean, just start new, and that's why some people don't like the B word, the bankruptcy. But, sometimes that's what you got to do, because if you're worried about your credit and you're not paying your bills, your credit's already destroyed.
Right, your credit's already shot, and until you get rid of the debt, the credit stays shot.
Yep.
And you're just
So-
robbing, you're nickel and diming. You're paying $100 to this one, $20 to this one. Before you know it, you're spending $500 a month to all these credit cards, and you could, take that $500 and apply it elsewhere.
And I tell you, sometimes it's just making that decision, and maybe that's a decision you should make before January. Another thing is change your W-4 at work. We talk about this all the time. We're coming to fall, winter. The snow will fall. We got football tomorrow, right? And so what's going to happen? Christmas is coming. If you change your W-4 at work, you're going to get more take-home pay, and you can use that money to pay cash for your Christmas gifts, right?
Instead of charging it, paying a little bit of interest till you get your refund, save the interest, get the money now.
That's exactly right. And then the other thing is when you're looking at your W-4s, maybe you should be paying estimates. Now, when do people have to pay estimates, you guys?
Well, when their federal liability is
Or
when they're
state.
going to owe more than $1,000
Or
On the federal.
super exceeds what their liability was
from
the
last
previous
year when they exceeds their liability from last year. So it's if you owe more than $1,000 to the IRS, $300 to New York State, you can get hit with the penalty.
Right, and believe me, they will hit you. Now, there is a 2210 to make an exception to penalty if you qualify, but you should take a look at if you think you might have a liability, give EG Tax a call because we'll help you with your estimates so you get them in. And obviously, if you get that estimate in before December and it's a New York State estimate, it's an itemized deduction if you're an itemizer.
Correct.
Pretty
Right?
cool.
Yep.
Okay, and don't forget, extension deadline's the 15th, so if you've been putting off your federal return and state return, EG Tax will help you with that, too. Until next week, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. Give us a call at 632-7886. We want to help you. If you have any questions, email us through our website at egtax.com. Until next week, I'm Esther Golias with Christopher Fabian and Tiffany Fabian. Have a great week. Bye-bye.